Hello again. In this video I'd like to examine how this model of information flow and memes might give us an insight into human morality. The kind of orthodox genetic view of how altruism is caused is that animals that are genetically closely related have a vested interest in the survival of each other, and that by behaving altruistically they're enhancing their genes being passed on through other individuals. Now I think there's a problem here concerning human beings, because we don't always behave well to animals or to people who are closely related to us. Now the orthodox explanation for this is that our behaviours evolved during our hunter-gatherer past, when we would have been closely related to most of the people that we met. I think one problem I have with this, and the weakest problem I have with this, is that if that's the case, we would expect people to become more selfish through time. Because we're now in contact with people who aren't closely related to each other, there should be an advantage to our genes in cheating, and therefore there should be enhanced survival opportunities in cheating other people, and I think that's unfortunate. I admit this is the weakest argument. However, I think the model I've been proposing about information flow suggests another reason why we should behave altruistically. If I'm talking to you and we're sharing sensory information about the world, we're sharing that processing of information about the world, we're producing unitary models. That these unitary models have real survival advantage to us. The better my model, the more chance I'm going to manipulate the world appropriate, the greater my chance of survival, the greater my chance of reproducing. Then I really do have a vested interest in your survival. Your death would be equivalent or analogous to me losing half my brain or losing an eye. And I think the other thing here is that we do not have to be genetically related. All that is necessary is that we are in some kind of relationship. The protocols have been established so that information can flow between us. In fact, it could be that somebody who's more distantly related, a stranger, could be better because they may increase my perspective on the world. If we look at this from a memes point of view, communication between people is vital. This is how they would replicate. And so I think it's likely that memes have reconstructed our mindscapes for their own advantage, to aid this sharing of information, to aid the flow of information from individual to individual. I think, however, this does introduce a tension between the interests of genes and the interests of memes. Memes and genes will always have common purpose, or pretty much always have common purpose, while meme flow is vertical from generation to generation. But where meme flow is horizontal, the interests of memes and genes can become separate. A tension can be introduced. And I'd like to have a look at that in subsequent videos. However, I think I've kind of suggested a model of why we might be altruistic with other people, why we might want to share information with other people. But the picture that I'm producing might actually be a bit too rosy. So I would suggest that there are two strategies that human beings could reasonably use. Strategy A, we use each other by having a relationship in which we share sensory data about the world and share processing power to extend our unitary models of reality. These models become enriched, and this confers survival advantage on us because we understand the world better and can manipulate it more successfully. Let's call that strategy A. Strategy B, sleep with your wife, steal your possessions, and generally behave badly. Obviously, this gives me access to resources that I wouldn't have. And the problem of doing strategy B is it prevents strategy A. We're not going to share information if I'm sleeping with your wife and stealing your possessions, etc. So by adopting strategy B, my model of the world will be meaner, weaker, but I may have resources that I wouldn't have had otherwise. It seems to me likely that these two strategies are always in tension with each other. Strategy A is highly useful but risky. We are open to abuse. Strategy B is immediately rewarding but disadvantageous in the long term because it inevitably impoverishes a person's model of the world and isolates them from the relationships that are necessary to improve such models. From a memes point of view, all competing human needs, I would suggest open niches that are available for them to exploit. So if we have strategy A and strategy B in tension with each other, it seems likely to me that people will tend to flit from one strategy to another, depending on how they assess the advantage of either strategy. And I think it's likely that there are certain environmental conditions which will promote strategy A. There are environmental conditions that will promote strategy B. Okay, thank you, and we'll take this further in the next video. Thank you.